Hey, lighting people! We are preparing for Christmas candlelight services this weekend at my church, and I decided why not do a video of me programming lights for that, just specifically for one of those songs. So, to be clear, I have not done any programming of songs on MA3 in about 6 months because I've been busking since then and haven't really had an occasion where it seemed like it was needed. But I like to sometimes program out cues for more important events, and so we're doing a special. We're doing O Come, Emmanuel by Gateway Worship and Rebecca Hart this coming weekend, and we're going to sync with our main campus for that. So I'm going to program out cues for it, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing, what my thought process is. We're going to play the music, we're going to listen to it, you're going to see the lights, you're going to hopefully have a good enough view of my screen that you can tell what I'm doing, but I'm also going to be talking about it. I'll show you some of my programming workflow, just how I have things set up, and yeah, let me know what your questions are after this. At some point, I do intend to do a video showing me busking. I haven't quite gotten to it yet, but this is another little something that I know people are going to want to see, and I may do more of it in the future. So let me know what you're looking to see, and I will try and answer all of your questions. Thanks for watching. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that all of my faders are up, and then normally I would go ahead and pick colors for the song now, but we are going to be syncing with our main campus for this, so there will be video on the screens, and for that reason, I don't want to pick colors until I know what colors they're using so I can match. But this is my default look. I do program in recipes, so my cues contain data. Currently, the washes are at 100%, the spots are at 100%, and all this stuff. We have all of the fixtures set to a color preset called O Come, Emmanuel, and that is so that we can change the color, update the preset, and then if I do any color changes back and forth, they'll all be tied to that preset. We have a value that we can come back to the next time we do this song if we want to do that. I just find that this is the easiest way also to manage colors per song in recipes, because I want to do all my programming in recipes. So I have dimmer values, gobos, etc. I also have some kind of default recipes that all of my lights are set to that gives them default values. So that's what's stored into my base cue to begin with. Now, when I'm actually starting out and I'm programming a song, I'm not going to want my lights to all be at 100%. So I'm going to play the first bit of the song to kind of get a feel for the dynamic and see how high I want these lights to begin with. This is a super low song, so I'm going to select my spots and put them at 0. And let's see here. Definitely going to want my washes to be a lot lower, probably 40%. And then floor pixels at, we'll try 30. That looks good. Oh, one thing that I should definitely do is explain kind of how this stuff is working behind the scenes. So I have a whole set of presets here that these are all recipe presets. And then I'm taking these recipe presets and I'm storing them in recipes in my cues as well. So I have a different pool, which I will show you right here. I have a preset pool with universal phasers in it, and not just phasers, I have stomp values here as well. So these are all universal presets. And there's a different one for every value that I need to have a preset for. Then I come here, and these are all recipes. So every single one of these is referencing one of my universal phasers, but I'll just show you. They have recipe lines for each group of lights that I might apply this to. And each recipe line, okay, the stomps aren't a great choice for showing, but each recipe line has the selection and it has in matrix values, default fade values, and default speed values. So every time I select one of my recipe presets, depending on my fixture selection, it's going to apply the phaser in a form that I may use it and that I'm probably am most likely to use it. If I need to change my matrix information, I have a matrix over here that I commonly use that I can click on. And of course, I can always change stuff like the fade time in the recipe editor as well. But I do have a lot of default data stored into these recipe presets. So again, starting off, this is a really low moment. I already stored these values in here. I'm going to actually want my floor pixels to be dimmer than that, maybe 20%. And then I'm going to pull down my key light because my key light's pretty bright. I like to have my key light on when I'm programming because it lights the stage differently and I can program more accurately that way. I'm also going to bring the house size down a little more. So I don't think I want all of my washes to be on in this case. And for that reason, I'm going to, let's see here. I'm going to select my inverse U washes and put them at 0. So now I just have this, I call this group the U washes, the ones that are still on because they make a U that I often want to have on with the other ones off. And I'll store that. And so now this is kind of our starting point for the song. This is all stored in my first cue. Now another thing I'm going to do is time out how long the intro is for this song because I like to have my fade time be the duration of the intro. So let's play it again from the start. We're going to go with a 24-second fade. Actually, I'm going to do 18, so just the beginning part. So I'm going to select my fade from X column and change it to 18. And I'm also going to clean up my cue, removing the extra recipes. Now we're going to go into the next cue. I'm going to label it verse. I'm just listening. All right, so I'm hearing kind of a swell out, but also toning back the energy. So actually, I'm gonna go back and do something before this. Store cue 1.05. And what I have for my main intro is kind of that low swell in. This is fine. We're fading to this. This is great. But then it kind of picks up the energy for like a few seconds before the verse starts and it goes into the verse, or it keeps up until the verse. I'm going to go build. And now I'm going to select my U washes and go to my color view and apply an RGB negative positive 25. So this is a saturation variation effect, store cue. And I'm going to take my floor pixels, and I know currently they're at 20%, so I'll go to my absolute dimmers here, and I'm going to take them maybe 0 to 25. That looks good. Let's back the song up a little bit and make sure it really fits the way I think it does. Yes, that is the look. We're doing that. Now, one thing I just randomly realized I forgot to do is check the tempo of this song. So I'm going to look up that information. I can't find any data on which tempo the song has, so I'm going to go ahead and just tap it out as best I can. I'll verify with our music director on Sunday morning. Getting 122 It may be half that, but I don't know. I'll pause that. Now, the way I'm going to handle the tempo is I'm going to put in my Q1, dollar dim, BPM, dollar dim plus dollar color. These just address my color and dimmer speed masters. I feel like this is more intuitive to remember to type in and look at and immediately know what it is. So I created variables. BPM 122. And now we are going at that speed. So we have this kind of, all right, we're in the verse. Nothing happens in the verse. I still want the cue as a placeholder. Then this right here is the chorus. Chorus. I'm going to go swell. And now in our chorus, I'm going to want to take my washes and stomp the saturation variation, probably not to RGB stomp relative 0. Probably going to want to go to 15%. Oh, I selected the wrong washes. I was like, I'm not seeing anything. All right, so we stomp them a little bit. I'm going to want to tilt them out a little bit. So let me see. Got to do the upstage and downstage separately because it looks better. That's probably a good value for the upstage washes. And then, actually, they happen to be good at the same value this time. All right, store Q. And then I'm going to stomp the dimmer on the floor pixels. So stomp 20. Now, the default fades should be good. I'm going to have a look at that. All right. I'm going to go with that. We'll change it later if we need to. All right, we have an instrumental. Actually, I'm going to call it an interlude because it's kind of an interlude with some talking over. Interlude energy, just as a note to myself. So for that, what am I hearing? I would say we need some more lights in and we need some movement. So I'm going to select my spots. I'm going to give them a dimmer, 0 to 100. And I may change that, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them narrower, and I'm going to make my air spots do a tilt effect. Now this is a relative tilt effect. I'm going to want them to be further out to start with, but this preset does stomp the tilt effect. Let me try. It's not far enough. 80. Okay. Then I'll go back here, turn the tilt on again. All right, now I feel like they are way too bright. So I'm going to make that dimmer be 0 to 50. Yeah. I like that. I can go with that. All right. Clean up and store that. Now, I think I'm going to do my every fourth pixel on the air pixels. So let's see if I really have a group for that. It's been a while since I did some programming, and I don't have things quite set up for it as well as they ought to be. So let's try that, 0 to 17. Okay, so this is half of my air pixels because I created a separate group for the other half because they need to have different values generally. But I do think that's too bright for those actually. So let's do 0 to 10. Yes. Now my other group is the diagonal bars. There we go. And we're going to take these 0 to 17. That looks about even. Maybe 0 to 20. Yeah, I like that. All right, store that in the queue. And my U-washes should probably also be doing a dimmer. Let's go, let's try 0 to 50. And then my floor pixels can do a 0 to 50. Let's hear how that sounds. I'm gonna back it up a wee bit. I think that's good if the transition looks good. So let's give that a try. I'm gonna back up and we're in this chorus. I love that. For that build, I'm going to tilt the washes out more. And I think increase the dimmer value. Yeah. Okay, so there's a drop back at I like to capitalize the letters of the syllable on which a hit happens. So, Emmanuel, that's when we're stopping it. Let's go with, I think we can stomp our effects on the pixel bars, but leave them on. So let's try stomping at 7% for the ones in the back, and then the ones on the sides. Let's go with 20. Selected the wrong group. Why didn't that work? Whoops, okay. I need the T bars. There we go. All right. And let's do 20%. Okay. Floor pixels are going to be stomped at maybe 25, 30. Yeah. And then spots. Actually, let me store what I got first. All right. All that's stored. Now I want my spots to go wide zoom and simultaneously fade out. So wide zoom and then stomp 0. And let me make sure that fade looks good. Yep, they're widening as they're fading out. There we go. Now my U-washes, we're going to stomp at 50%. 60? Yeah. Gonna back it up a little. Okay. Verse. And as far as this, I'm gonna actually say, okay. We're on the verse, and so stuff's gonna pick up again. I'm gonna run through that one more time. Listen. So we want a little bit of energy, then they're gonna come really in. Let's see. I'm gonna have my washes do a saturation variation and a dimmer actually. Yeah, we can start there. Maybe, yeah, no. Okay, we'll do the 75. And let's try, I want to add something else to the pixels. Let's go with my threes group, vertical bars 1 of 3, 0 to 10. Yep. And then the side ones, 0 to 17. Yeah. Store that. And I'm going to have my floor pixels also start dimming. Actually, let's not do it that way. Let's do something fun. Let's do X-Wings 2 and phase 360 through 0. I selected the wrong group for that. Okay. I have a floor pixels linear group that should be the only one I'm using, but it's not. And I'm going to go to 0 to 100, X-Wings 2, 360, and 0. Actually, I have now changed my mind about the vertical bars. I don't want them doing this. I'm going to delete these 2 recipe lines, and instead I'm going to have the lights that are already on start dimming again. So let's go to V bars G1 of 4, 0 to 10, and then the other group we'll do 0 to 20. And then I'm going to, just to save time, go ahead and do the next cue for what I'm thinking. I know this is going to be a big. I don't know what the transition is. I'll name it after I get that. Let's do, I'm going to bring in those other ones now. So my 1 of 3 group and the same for the side ones. Okay. And then at this point also, I think we're going to want the floor pixels to be doing a different kind of thing. So I'm going to again select the linear version. I'm going to do 0 to 100. Don't want it doing this way though. I'm thinking groups of 2 or blocks of 2. So blocks of 2, then I have to reapply 0 to 360 here. No, I said, oh, right, shuffle. The speed looks a little bit funny now. Maybe, let's see, I'll try, I don't know how fast it is. That's too fast. I'm not sure I'm liking the 2s. What if I did 3s? I think I like that. Can change it later. And then what I want to do is bring in the rest of my washes now. So my inverse hue washes, I'm going to bring in at 0 to 50 also. I think it's cool that they're not doing the saturation variation effect, so I'm not going to change that. I am, however, going to change their tilt value to kind of match the other ones. Maybe I want them tilted out more. That might be fun. That's a cool effect. Actually, this could be fun if I take the other ones and tilt them down again. I think that's cool. Let's try that. And then I'm going to want to pull back in my spots. So my all spots, let's go back to the narrow zoom and do that 0 to 100 again. Let's also add saturation variation It's hardly noticeable because they're so white already, but adds just a little bit. Okay, let's listen to the song again. Oh, come thou days bring I absolutely love that, except that the air spots are too bright. So I'm going to take my air spots and do 0 to 50. Let's go. Again, I just think that was like amazing. All right, let's do come and cheer, because that was the word. And let's keep going. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and test our shadows to all right, that was cool. So, chorus, rejoice. So they're kind of getting higher. They're not building energy that much, but the music's getting higher, airier. Kind of feels like we need to come out into the room a little more, maybe add a little bit of movement, depending if it's the right kind of movement. So my thought is, we need more haze. My other thought is that we should take the air spots and actually all the spots, we'll do all the spots and pan them. There we go. And I don't need to worry about the fade time because my recipe defaults to a fade time of 7 seconds, which should be good in this instance. So I'll do that. And then the only thing I should worry about is speed, which is a little bit fast. I adjusted my fader to 15, so that's a good starting point. So I'm going to go back to my first cue and add a command $pan tilt BPM 15. Okay. Usually I have those speed commands in my first cue by default, but I didn't use my usual create song plugin to set this up. I just kind of am building it in my sequence from scratch. So I had to add that. All right. My other thing is I think I want my washes to, oh, we could do a zoom effect actually. I like never do zooms. I think that fits this moment perfectly, actually. And then I want to do a tilt. So let's add that. Oh, amazing, amazing. Okay, let's hear how it sounds. All right, I just had to change which zoom that was. Now, store that in the queue. I'm going to check the transition on that. Okay, so my thoughts on that are, first off, the fade time on the spot starting the pan is too slow, 7 seconds, or too fast. Sorry, 7 seconds is not long enough. So I'm going to change that to 12. And then my second thought is that I was right the first time with the zoom effect. We want it to be this one, which is a little more dramatic. It's narrow wide, the other one was normal to wide. So this one goes narrower, and then also I think this movement's a little fast after all. Let's try 10 BPM. Yeah, let's do 10. Okay. Let's play that through again. I don't think I started at the right point. Let's try it again. I like that. Kind of have that interlude. Ooh, some violin in the interlude. I think we can stay on this look though. I'm gonna name this cue interlude. Okay, that's gonna require a change. Let's do, let's see here. Stop. Rejoice. Emmanuel again. And for that, this is a lot bigger one than the other one. And what I'm probably going to want to do is have it go big and then slowly fade down. So I'm going to start with all washes, all spots, wide zoom. And then also floor pixels, stomp 100. And all washes, let's go with stomp 60. No, that's too bright. 50. Yeah, 50. Stomp the tilt. And then my downstage washes, I want to be like that. In that position. Yeah. And then my upstage washes, not 50, 55. Yeah. And then all my washes again, we're going to go with stomp. Relative 30. Nope, that's too bright. 15. Okay. And it says we can clean up. Was it lying? It was not lying. Sometimes it says you can clean up, but then when you do it, it deletes things you actually need. All right, store cue. But my look didn't change, so I know we're good. And then, oh, I also need my spots to stomp to 100. Nope, not 100. Floor spots, 100. Air spots, 50. Yes, that's better. And then I'm going to go ahead and select my vertical bars in the back and stomp them at 10. And then the ones on the sides, and stomp them at 20. Yep. All right, so now we have this big look. And then I'm going to do a follow cue. And I'm going to just name it follow. And in this one, we're going to want to pull the spots to 0. We're going to want to pull all our air pixels to 0. And yeah, I'm going to change the fade time on that to 6 seconds, which we might adjust. I'm not sure. Actually, this won't be a follow cue. I'm going to make it a timed cue and have it start 2 seconds after the other one. I'll still name it follow though, because that just tells me that I don't have to trigger it. And then, let's see here. First step on the washes, desaturate, or rather saturate, undesaturate, whatever, make them less white. Then I'm going to want to pull My upstage washes down somewhat to 45, yep. And then my downstage washes I'm going to leave tilted out, but I'm going to reduce the dimmer value. Let's try 40%. Okay, I think I like that. Now for these changes, I'm going to have it take a little bit longer than the other ones. So let's do 9 seconds for the fade. Store that. And then my floor pixels are also too bright now that I turned the washes down. So let's do 60%, 75%. Yeah, 75%. And make that fade also be 9 seconds. Store Q. And let's have a look at how that feels with the music. All right, the fade out didn't happen quickly enough. Let's try making that a time 0. See how that goes. Okay, I like it, but the air pixels need to fade out faster. Let's do 3 seconds. Also, it would be nicer if they would fade a little one at a time. So let's try this. This is my air pixels. I just set them all to 0 since I want them all to be at 0. Let's do a delay. Let's start with adding a matrix, shuffle, and then delay 0 to 1 second. And actually then let's make this a little shorter. 1.5 maybe. I'm just going to look at that first. That's a lot better on that fade. Maybe 0.5 here. Okay, and then the only other thing, actually now that I'm looking at it, maybe have all these 9 seconds only be 6 seconds. Try that. All right, let's run it with the music again. Oop, I didn't hit it fast enough. I should have hit that key a little earlier, so I'm going to try it one more time. I like that. I'm going to name this one verse. We might need more cues. Store cue. I honestly hope we won't need that many, but we might. Let's start something on that Heaven's Peace. Let's do floor pixels linear, absolute dimmer 0 to 100, and then I'm going to do my whole wings of 2 thing again. So wings of 2, phase, it's going to be 360 to 0, so it's going out from the center. I like that. So we have that going, and then what else do I want? Actually, that could look cool if we do it in blocks of 2 as well. Let's try it. Okay, I like it, but maybe it needs to go a little faster that way. Let's do fade, not fade, speed from X. I don't know what speed it's at. Try changing that to 12. Okay, I think that's good. Then the one other thing I was gonna do is probably do a saturation variation on the washes. Let's go with that. Let's try it. All right. Alright, I changed my mind. I don't want this to be in twos. No blocks of 2. What I do want is for it to fade a little bit faster. So let's go with 1.5 because I know the default is 3. And then we've got that going. Then we get to the chorus. So and let me hear that again, actually. Oh, that's going to be awesome. All right. Let's just add the air spots right now. Air spots, will make them a normal zoom and dim 0.75. Do I like that normal zoom or not? What if we did a zoom effect instead? I think I want the pan to stomp. I think that's what's bothering me. Stomp that pan. But they should have a base position of a fan. Soft fan is good enough. Let's clean that up. But they are dimming too much or too brightly, so 0 to 50. All right, I'm good with that. And then it needs a little bit more presence. So I'm gonna do my every 4th pixel on again, but I don't think I want them dimming. Let's do 7% on the ones in the back. And then the other ones, let's do 15. Yes, but I don't want them to all come in at the same time because that's no good. So we're going to apply shuffle and matrix and delay them to 0.3 seconds. Oh. I think that should work. I can change it if I need to. And then I'm going to take the floor pixels and stomp them at a full 100. There we go. Let's give that a shot. Okay, never mind. The spots should not be dimming. They should be fully on. 60? I feel like they look like they're panning. Must have accidentally overwritten yep, they were panning. Okay. I like that. They're a little bright though. 50? Ooh, that's still bright now that they're just facing me and they're not like moving. 35. Yeah. Okay. One more time. I think we got it, man. That's awesome. All right, for this, we want to add a little bit of movement and just a little bit more happening generally. So I'm going to probably leave the pixel 4s where they are, but add in the 3s dimming. Let's do 0 to 10, yeah. And then on the side ones, you will do 0 to 20. Floor pixels can go full 0 to 100. I wonder if they'd look good with the 4s. What's wrong group? Maybe the 25 to 100. I like that. Okay, let's do that. So now I have them in blocks of 4, but going 25 to 100%. So there's some variation in this, like big pieces, more slowly, less dramatically, which is what I wanted. Now my all washes, let's do a 25 to 75 dimmer, is my thought. And might be a little much. Okay, let's try 0 to 75. I can go with that. I can go with that. All right, and then let's dim the air spots now and bring in the floor spots non-dimming. So air spots 0 to 50. They stopped tilting. I accidentally stopped them from tilting, which is fine. I actually liked it, but let's make them tilt again now. So tilt them, and they're doing that dimmer. Maybe that dimmer can be a little brighter now that they're tilting because they're not in your face the whole time, just some of the time. And I like that. Actually, let's also make them narrower. Go in between. All right, I did that. Then floor spots, I'm going to pull them in at 60. And I'm going to make sure that they are stomped. Oh, I also want them fanned. Fan, soft fan? Full on fan. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. And then they were never tilting to begin with, actually. But now they're not doing anything, so that is good. They're just there. They can be brighter than that. Oh, how weird. That made them start tilting again. That shouldn't happen. By the way, if you were ever wondering, that shouldn't happen. Now we lost our position. Right? No, we didn't. Okay, fan. We're not tilting. All right. Let's listen to that. Oh, I love that. That's good. All right, we need to have some more happening for that. So this is going into the interlude, but with the sound Israel. Okay. So on this interlude, what do we want? I'm going to say spots doing that zoom effect. Yes, I like that. Maybe do the full, oh, we don't have a narrow to wide. No, yeah, we do. Narrow to wide. All right, I can see that with some movement. So let's do pan on all of them. Yeah, because the spots are already tilting and I don't want the floor spots. The air spots are tilting. I don't want the floor spots tilting. I like that. I like that. Might be a little bit much. I think the zoom is going too fast. I'm going to slow it down. So speed is probably defaulted to like 10. So let's go with 5. All right, we can adjust it later if necessary. And then I'm going to have my washes tilt again and actually have them do this effect too. I love that. All right. I'm going to have the floor pixels do the full pixel block 4, 0 to 100. Yep, that's good. Let's listen to that. That transition to the spots moving was way too fast. Let's do a 12-second. And then maybe make the zoom slow. We'll give it a shot. I think I changed the wrong fade time. I meant that the spots were doing the pan too fast. Whoop, don't do that. 12. Let's make this 7 again. Actually, the default for tilt is 5, I think. Might be 7. I think it's 5. But we'll go with 7. I could also just reset it if I want to, but I think 7 is good either way. That was good. Okay, for that ending, I need to figure out the best way to do that ending. So there's kind of a little bit of a something more happening and then it ends and fades out pretty quick. My thought is that I can just adjust the speed on my faders for that, dun, 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 that kind of hype up. But then I will do a drop out, or I'll just go end Emmanuel. And I may use the cue right after that too. So what we're going to do is, again, kind of washes spots, wide zoom. Probably stomp them all to RGB 20. And spots at 100. Nope, not spots at 100. Oh, also I had everything selected. Oops, that. It's kind of weird they are still at 100. The spots are, the washes aren't. But the air spots, I'm going to do at 55. Never mind. I'm going to clear out and start over because I don't know what just happened. Washes spots. RGB stomp 20. We're also going to want to stomp pan and tilt and wide zoom. There we go. Also, floor pixels, stomp 100. Washes, stomp 55. Yep, that looks good. And I need my air spots to stomp too, but not 100. Maybe 60. Nope. 50. 40. There we go. And let's see here. Next one will be fading this stuff out. Follow out. Sometimes I give myself that just as a note that this is what's happening when it goes out. We're going to do this kind of similarly to last time, spots 0. I'm also going to actually have the spots start moving to a more normal tilt position so that we see that. Now that'll be a 7-second fade, which might be too long. So I'm going to go with 12. No, you know what? We'll give it a chance. We'll let it do what it does and see how we like it. Then I want my air pixels to stomp at 0. This fade will look natural because they're already dimming before they start it. I want my washes, RGB stomp 0, and definitely going to want to move them back towards the stage more. So upstage, let's do 45. Already at 45? 40. Okay, downstage, 50. Now that fade I'm going to want to take a little bit longer, so I'm going to change it to fade in 12 seconds. Let's have a look at this. I forgot about my floor pixels. My floor pixels also need to fade down to maybe 60. Now, that's not even bright enough. 70, 80. 80 is good. No, 75. We have to split the difference. Always got to split the difference. All right. I'm actually not happy with that. Even now, let's do 70. 70, yes. 70 is perfect. Then I'm going to delete 1.2, go to Q1, and run through the whole song. There's that build. I'm actually going to add a note. Oh, come, Emmanuel. I don't think that is a guitar string picking. I know it's some kind of string picking. Until the sun I've come here. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, 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 Emmanuel. Rejoice, 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 Emmanuel. Oh, come, thou days bring and cheer. Our spirits by thy nativity disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and cast dark shadows floating flight. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, 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 that fade was gold. All peoples in one heart and mind, bid envy, strife, and quarrel cease. Fill the whole world with heaven's peace. Rejoice, I love that. Shall come to thee, O Israel. The thing to keep in mind is I have my zoom set to follow this dim fader. That was good. That was good. All right, we're playing another song, and that's not what I wanted. So that is it. That is my programming for this song. Hopefully that was very helpful for you to see my process. I hope you can see everything I'm doing on the screen really well. But if you'd like me to do something like this again, let me know, and maybe I'll do it with a more upbeat song. Maybe I'll do it with a more chill song. Let me know what you're wanting, what you're thinking, anything I need to elaborate on more, what my process is. Throw your questions in the comments, and I will be happy to answer them. I hope all of y'all's Christmas services went well. If you work at a church like me, or whatever else you're doing, I wish you a very happy 2026, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great week. Happy programming.